Hey there, it's Angela, and I'm so glad you found your way here to architecting. Creative careers can be stressful, and it's hard to be vulnerable, but this is your landing pad for raw honesty. I'll help you get clarity, reconnect with your passion, and have the career of your dreams. If you're ready to make a difference, have an impact, and say bye-bye to burnout, stick with me, and let's get architecting. What if I told you there are no accidents and nothing is ever wasted? How would that make you feel about taking that bold step in your career and living your dreams? Well, it is true. It is not just some woo-woo fantasy stuff. It is real and true and backed by science. And I'm going to unpack exactly how that works for you today. Welcome to Architecting. My name is Angela Mazzi. I'm a full-time practicing architect who is committed to not only living my best life, which means having success on my terms, but helping creative professionals just like you overcome the overwhelm, stress, and burnout that keeps you from really doing work that energizes you, that feels meaningful, and feel like you don't have to trade off quality of life in order to get there. So my dad used to tell me whenever I would get discouraged and feel annoyed that something happened that wasn't what I wanted, I didn't get the job offer or the opportunity I wanted, and I would feel bad about it. My dad would say, Angela, everything happens for a reason. It didn't sit too well with me in those moments because in my mind, I had done the work. I had put the effort in. I had taken the actions and not gotten the payoff. However, as I have gone on to live many more years of my life, I realized that yes, my father was 100% right. Everything does happen for a reason. The more you can let go of how you think things are supposed to work out and instead be clear on what you want and open to possibilities and unapologetically put yourself out there, that's where the magic happens. There is real science behind this. There is this function in our brain called the salience network. It is essentially a gatekeeper. I talk about this a lot more in my book, Time Builder. So if you want to read more about exactly how it works, you can get yourself a copy on my website or on Amazon. Whether you know it or not, you are telling your salience network what to let through the gate. Because on the other side of the gate, our five senses have brought in millions of bits of information, way more than we can consciously be aware of or process. The gatekeeper is going to decide based on the priorities it's been assigned what to let through the gate. And since our basic instinct as humans is for survival, the first thing that is going to get through is anything that we perceive as dangerous. Now, it's easy to see how things that could put us in obvious danger, like someone who's lurking in the background or giving us the side eye, could be a physical danger. But what many people don't realize is that we are afraid of success. And when you're afraid of success, big opportunities don't feel exciting. They feel like a red flag to your salience network. It sounds crazy. How could you possibly not want to be successful? As I see with the people that take my classes and my one-on-one coaching clients, there's a lot of stories that we have absorbed either from our culture or from our parents or our religion or our school that says If you stand out in any way, you're not part of the group. And if you're not part of the group, you're on your own. We've evolved as human beings to live in groups, to be social. Be pretty hard to survive out there in the big wide world as a single human. You wouldn't have the resources. But we physiologically have adapted to need and want to belong. The problem is that the idea of what it means to belong can get really distorted. Sometimes by people in power who want to make sure that they disempower the rest of us, so we have to depend on them and listen to them. And sometimes by those around us who care about us, who are well-meaning and who want to keep us safe as well. So we create this virtue around lack that isn't really true, and it holds us back. We can feel like if we are too successful, that we don't fit in. We could feel like if we change, we don't fit in with the group we identify with. And then what will we do? We won't have friends. If we spend too much time caring about being successful in our career, that will mean we neglect our personal life, meaning our friends and our family. And that will make us a bad person, and they won't love us anymore. We can feel like it's greedy to care about being successful, or being ambitious is something that is selfish. All of these things make us feel that success is dangerous. And therefore, things that could be those big opportunities, those quantum leaps for our careers, we've unconsciously told our salience network, block that shit. Do not let it through. We don't have a chance to be aware of them, take action, evaluate them. And the few things that do sneak through, so many times we will decide we just can't do it. Have you ever found yourself talking yourself out of an opportunity? Someone says, hey, we're forming a new Women in Architecture committee in our AIA chapter. We'd love to have you be part of it, and we think you would be really great in a leadership role on the committee. And you say, ugh, I just don't have the time. Even though this is something you care about, even though your skills and abilities have been recognized, even though this opportunity can help you build your network, give you some skills that you might be able to take back to the office, you think of all the reasons you can't instead of why you can. And you decide to take a pass on the opportunity. This is self-sabotage at its finest. And the sad part is it's insidious. We don't see how we do this to ourselves. No accidents, remember? It's deliberate. What about the times when we consciously go for it, when we feel confident, when we've worked hard, when we've put in the effort? What about that? I don't know about you. I am a doer, right? I have my goals, I have my ambitions, and I am chasing them. I am looking at every possible avenue I could take to accomplish whatever it is I want to accomplish. And still, don't always get what I want. Still, there are those moments where I hear my dad's voice in my head try to console me, saying everything happens for a reason. Sure, having a lot of clarity about what I want puts my salience network on alert. It lets me be more aware of what's possible. And I'm trying a lot of different things. I'm putting myself out there. I'm telling people what I want. I'm doing the things, right? But there's another trap there, in that when you do for the sake of doing, when you are hell-bent that success can only look one way, you are still limiting yourself because you're blocking out all the other ways that things can happen for you. You might be saying yes to something because you feel you have to pay your dues or put in a certain amount of effort, while at the same time you're saying no to an opportunity that maybe you don't know as much about, but that could open a lot of doors for you with a lot less effort and get you beyond where you thought you could even go in your limited thinking about success. And that's what we have to really embrace. If I told you to dream your biggest dream, it would still be limited. It would be limited about what you believe is possible for yourself. And when we are just in a doing phase, it can be exhausting. It can be heartbreaking because we still may not get what we want after all the time and energy and effort and sacrifice that got made, and the payoff was still not what we had hoped it would be. Sure, we have to take action, but we have to take aligned action based on being really clear, but also being willing to surrender, which, if you are a control freak like me, doesn't come easy to you. It feels too easy, maybe, to just say, I'm going to allow things to happen. I'm going to be open to possibilities, and I'm going to be discerning based on whether something feels like an exciting opportunity for me or whether the opportunity just feels like I'm putting in time or doing my duty. When you can feel into that, you know which opportunities to say yes to. And even if it feels like you don't know how or the logistics could never be possible, don't worry about the how. You will figure it out. Your brain is meant to solve problems. When you say, how can I do this thing? You will find a way. But if the thing doesn't excite you, it's not really worth putting the time and the energy and the effort into it because it won't lead you there. When you do what you love, you will be successful at it. When you pursue it no matter what, things will happen that you could have never imagined. On the other hand, when you try to follow a recipe for success, a script, you are limiting what's possible and you're putting blinders on yourself so that you don't really see other opportunities and other possibilities. You also don't see how something that you do that maybe did feel aligned and right and exciting still didn't end up where you might have hoped it would. You still have to trust the process that maybe what you got out of that experience was a skill set that's going to help you when the next big opportunity comes along. Or maybe you planted some seeds in a broader network and more people now know about you. And they don't just know about you as the sucker who will volunteer for anything. They know about you for something specific, for your why, in marketing terms, for your brand. You stand for something. You are about something because you have that alignment and that clarity in place before you said yes, because you had unblocked the idea that it was too audacious or presumptuous to be that bold about what you care about and what you want and how you want to make a difference. And now they're going to remember that about you. A common icebreaker that gets used in business circles is to have people go around the room and when they introduce themselves, say one personal fact. If you test that and, go back and just call on random people and say, Hey, Susan, what did Joe say about himself? What Susan will remember won't be that Joe is a project manager and does commercial work. Sue will remember that Joe is a cross country runner. And it's the same thing with your brand. If you stand for something very, very clearly, that's what people remember about you. The great thing about that is that not only do they remember you better because you stand out, but they remember you for the thing that you want to be known for. They remember you for what you want to do. In my case, in my work as a practicing healthcare architect, it's designed for well-being, salutogenesis. And that comes with it equity because it is about the availability of resources and the resiliency that we can give to people through design. That's easy to remember. The more I talk about it, the more I get to talk about it. The more I talk about it, the more out there it is in the big wide world, in people's memories, in published documents, in presentations I give on social media. I now have people reaching out to me because they're interested in the topic. And when they look it up, guess what comes up? My name, my body of work. That wouldn't happen if I just said, I want to be a successful architect and I want to be a firm owner and I want to do design that makes a difference. It would be ambitious to say those things, and I might want those things, but there's no why there. There's no personal brand there. There's no bigger picture. It doesn't tell anyone what I want to be known for, other than the most banal, basic things that a lot of people want. It doesn't differentiate me. But when I talk about my life's work, my passion, and I pursue it relentlessly, there is a cumulative effect, and that is why nothing is ever wasted. Did I know that I wanted to do these things when I was in college? Absolutely. Did I become a firm owner and a partner and a big influence in the world of healthcare design by age 25? Well, no. In fact, at age 25, I didn't even know I wanted to do healthcare design, but I knew what I cared about. My career has taken a lot of twists and turns, a lot of unexpected things, a lot of tragedies, both professionally and personally, a lot of setbacks that have happened. In having to give up a successful and promising career, a lot of leadership that I had when I lived in Phoenix. And not only did I have a good job, but I was chair of the Housing and Neighborhoods Commission. And that felt like, at the time, the way that the things I care about were going to be expressed. I had worked on affordable housing initiatives. I was on the board of Community Development Corporation. I was on the board of another nonprofit that was devoted to improving quality of life in the metropolitan area. This all seemed so aligned, like it made so much sense. But my parents' health was really bad. And I made the very difficult decision to resign from all of that and move back to Northeast Ohio and basically have to restart my career after I burned it down because I couldn't take any of that stuff with me. But I still had the same why, which ultimately led to the career I have now. So it didn't look like what I thought it would look like in my early 30s when I was doing all those things in Phoenix. But yet that through line is still there. And those insights I got, those opportunities for leadership I got, those accomplishments, the work I put in at that time in my life, absolutely built a foundation to allow me to do some of the things that I'm doing today. They help me see things about equity and resources and socioeconomic impacts as well as environmental impacts that influence prosperity and well-being of a community. So it was not wasted, even though a logical progression didn't happen the way that I thought it would. I'm inviting you to ask yourself what you want to be known for, not how much money you want to make, not what title you want to have, not what awards or recognition you want to get, but what you want to be known for. That thing that when you think about it feels exciting, feels energizing. And then I want you to look back over your career and look every time you made a choice that was filling in the blanks on that thing you want to be known for. And I want you to really appreciate the foundation that you've built, but also to use that knowledge to have an even more refined clarity on how you want to move forward. I want you to set goals that are flexible, not the kind of goals that are very rigid and put blinders on you, but rather the ones that just put you in the path of possibilities. And when you get an opportunity, be discerning about it. Feel into it. Does it energize you? Is it taking you further in terms of what you want to be known for? Or is it paying dues? Is it busy work? Say yes to the things that excite you, even if you have no idea how you will ever find the time to do it, or how you will navigate issues like childcare or travel or time off from work. Don't worry about those things if it is a hell yes. And you'll know when you do the gut check. All the reasons why you can't, those are the fears of success. Those are the reasons why you will tell yourself that you don't dare shine that bright, that you don't dare make that bold of a move. Rather than saying, who am I to do this? Know that if you are in the room, you belong there. You absolutely belong there. Keep sharing your message. Keep inspiring people. Keep shining your light because you don't know who else's path you are illuminating. Thank you so much for listening. I love hearing how what I share on this podcast is helping you in your career. So make sure to share and tag me on social media, LinkedIn at Architecting, as well as on Instagram at Architecting Podcast. And if this inspired you and you know somebody else who needs to hear it as well, do them a favor. Tell them about this podcast and help build our architecting community by liking, rating, and reviewing this podcast wherever you tune in to listen. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. If you want even more content, head on over to architectingpodcast.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get some great free downloads while you're there. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram at Architecting Podcast, Facebook and LinkedIn pages are Architecting, and the YouTube channel Architecting Podcast. Stay inspired.